Hi, almost everyone is watching my channel without a subscription. Please support me and subscribe. I release videos every day for you. Story 1. My brother demands financial help for his family. I turned him down, saying, at 31, I have a brother at 29, and he is getting married next year. We lost our mom in 2012 and our dad in 2016. We are each other's only living relatives. I have a good job. I earn a lot of money, £150,000 per year. My brother also has a good job, but doesn't earn anywhere near as much, £35,000. We were raised to always look after each other and share. My partner and I are child-free. Over the years, I have paid for my brother's master's degree, paid the down payment on his house. Our parents rented, so there is no family home. I will also be paying for my future SIL, F26, and my brother to have future rounds of IVF. Sil works part-time and earns about $15K a year. Her parents are not well off. My brother asked if I could contribute to the cost of the wedding. I said I'd pay for it, as is small with 100 guests, and set up a wedding account for them into which I put £25,000, which they both have access to. At 31, I have a brother at 29, and he is getting married next year. We lost our mom in 2012 and our dad in 2016. We are each other's only living relatives. I have a good job. I earn a lot of money, £150,000 per year. My brother also has a good job, but doesn't earn anywhere near as much, £35,000. We were raised to always look after each other and share. My partner and I are child-free. Over the years, I have paid for my brother's master's degree, paid the down payment on his house. Our parents rented, so there is no family home. I will also be paying for my future SIL, F26, and my brother to have future rounds of IVF. Sil works part-time and earns about $15K a year. Her parents are not well off. My brother asked if I could contribute to the cost of the wedding. I said I'd pay for it, as is small with 100 guests, and set up a wedding account for them into which I put £25,000, which they both have access to. Sil's entire family are involved as bridesmaids and groomsmen. My husband and I are guests. Brother and Sil have been going around venues with her family, and I did email the costing if it's selected. I told my brother I don't mind paying for the wedding, but I feel really weird that everyone else is involved in the decision, and I'm just involved with paying. Brother has said that I'm not our parents, I can't replace our parents, and that's why I'm not involved. Why can't I just do something nice without making him feel shit? I feel like an asshole for causing drama, but also feel taken advantage of. Ada. Updates were added as edits. UPDAT. This is in the UK, in Northern Ireland to be exact. 35 is a good salary. I don't have student debt to pay off because I didn't go to uni. I was in the military before becoming a commercial pilot. My brother's salary will increase as at his company. He needed a master's to progress beyond his current rung. Sil works part-time because she has a medical issue. She will never be able to work full-time because of this. Related. It is unclear if this is impacting fertility. In NI, you get one round of IVF on the NHS, which they did. They paid for 2 more at 8 each. Sil family paid for another and stipulated they wouldn't be able to afford to pay for a wedding if that was the case. Brother and Sil have been emotionally through the ringer with fertility issues. It isn't a cynical attempt to get money. For all of y'all talking about adoption, there is some serious BS about Sil's illness, meaning they aren't attractive candidates. I am close with my brother, but do pay for things we do together. He has really been there for me emotionally, especially during some personal problems I experienced just before and after I left the military. Future Sil was too. They didn't plan the engagement party. Sil family did, and they didn't invite me because my husband and I are never available. We just have jobs that have us moving around a lot. Sil and brother were horrified. No one told them we hadn't been invited. They assumed we just didn't show up. But that was resolved, and we had a lovely meal together instead. My husband is supportive of our financial assistance. We are also helping his sister with her college costs. Though why she had to go to the US when we have university educations that don't cost an arm and a leg right here is beyond me. Also, any of you who have paid your way through an American degree, I salute you. I still don't know what to do, but I do think maybe I'm not setting him up for success as I hoped, and also that I do think maybe I'm not setting him up for success as I hoped, and also that I do deserve some recognition, even if it's just privately from him. We'll keep you updated. Final update was added 5 days after the original post. Update 2. This whole thing got really big, so sorry I wasn't able to respond to everyone's comments. messages, etc. I spoke to brother and SIL, and SIL was saying she'd planned this with her brothers and sisters since she was a little girl. Her family knew her and what she wanted, and traditionally weddings are about the bride, and the bride's family are heavily involved. I said that's fine, but traditionally the bride's family also pay, and they are more than welcome to if tradition is so important. I said traditionally the groom's family are also involved. She said I was shaming her family for not being well off. I said that wasn't my intention, and that my brother's wedding is a big deal for my brother too and for me as his only family. Until we've had a shit time of it, so a nice occasion would be good. She said she understands that, but we don't have the same taste, and she didn't want to feel pressured into changing anything she had planned. I said I wouldn't ask her to change anything, I'd just like to come with so I didn't feel like an ATM. As you can tell, this conversation isn't going anywhere. I said I'd like to give a speech at the reception in lieu of my dad to welcome her to the family, and she said, well, my dad will be welcoming Stephen to our family, so that won't be necessary. Sile isn't interested in seeing the ads or treating me like family. This is clear. So then, Sile's mother calls me and is like, oh hey, we were thinking you and your husband would like to help us send them on honeymoon. I think it would be nice if it came from both sides. I lost her it. I said, did she not think me paying for the entire wedding was enough? She said she had no idea that I was paying. She just assumed it was my brother. Which, let's be clear here, makes no sense. Where are they gonna find 25 lying around when they've been saving for each round of IVF? So at this point I'm raging. I mean, wine in my pajamas raging. Call brother. Told him the situation. Says he didn't know they hadn't been told I was paying. I was like, isn't that just the default assumption at this point? Bank of sister is paying. He said that he appreciated everything I've done for him, and that SIL and SIL family just don't realize how much I've done and continue to do. He says he will sort it. Brother smooths things over and asks me how I would like to be involved. I said in all honesty, the fact that it's taken several rows and a thread on Reddit for him to realize this got pretty big. There were YouTube videos. That I wasn't being treated with respect is hurtful, and it should not take this level of drama to be included in my only family member's wedding. I said I would just attend as a guest. They can have SIL dream wedding, but that I will be taking a step back in general. I said I love him, I will always support him. I'll continue to support with the IVF, but otherwise my financial assistance is done. Education, house, wedding, it's over to them now. Brother said that's awkward with him, and asked if stepping back means we won't see each other as much. I said no, I'm still his sister, of course we will, but this has really upset me and left me feeling like you and SIL don't value our relationship. This went on for a while. I said I'm not trying to ruin his wedding, I'm not going NC, I'm just going to be his sister from now on, and stop trying to do what I think mom and dad would have done if they had the chance. We got into it about the pressure and obligations I felt since they passed. All very promising. I think I'm going to talk to a counselor about all of this. Lots of it is unprocessed grief and an unreasonable thought in my mind that if my brother doesn't want for anything, then he won't be sad and won't feel the absence of our parents as much. We both agree this is for the best for us both. Up Downtown Bowler 8987 was kind enough to stop by and answer questions in the comments. I'm adding some of the highlights here. Things that have already been paid for can't be taken back. Masters, down payment. The 25 for the wedding I no longer have access to. It was a gift. And 2 additional full rounds of IVF have already been paid for. Would have been used already if they hadn't paused temporarily to mentally recover from the last one. They won't be getting more. People comment about schools and college and stuff, but in the UK, most people can self-fund with student loans that don't break them after graduation. And where they are in NI has really good state schools, so those things are never going to be issues. Obviously, if I am blessed with a niece or nephew, I will probably put some money into an ISA for them to get when they're 18, but the handouts are stopping. That's an investment in the future of my family. My partner and I won't be having kids. Because we're in the UK, my brother did his UG using student fee loans and maintenance loans and grants. He lived with my dad at the time, so I was not contributing. His master's was 2 years part-time while he continued working. I literally only paid some of his master's fees. He got $5,500 in a student loan and I paid the remaining $20,000. It's just a more expensive master's than normal, because it was an MBA. I love my brother, but this whole situation was doing my head in. He shouldn't have any financial issues now all the big ticket stuff is done, and he'll get a pay rise at work since he did the masters. He knows that, and I think he is a bit shamefaced when he saw it all laid on our Reddit. SIL, because of her medical issue, had been doted on her whole life, and has a general lack of awareness that most people don't get everything just handed to them. Hadn't pegged her as a future bridezilla. Many people pointed out it's probably less of a headache to not be involved if she's so controlling about the wedding. I'm a pretty laid-back person. I couldn't be dealing with it. Her sister, maid of honor, has invited me to the hen-do cabin at the Galgorm, and I don't even know if I should go. I don't think she's terrible, I just think she's sheltered and oblivious. Hark at me when I've clearly done the same thing to my brother. They aren't bad people, just spoiled kids who have been shielded too long. Me with my brother because of our parents, SIL with hers because of her medical issues. It's why, although I'm not going to be giving financial help, I'll still be there for them. I genuinely believe they both just need to grow up. And as I've helped create this problem with my brother, I can't just be like, fuck y'all now. My mom, dad, and I spoiled my little brother. Since I was 5, I wanted to be an RAF pilot and astronaut too. And I had that single-minded focus. Obviously, joining the armed forces straight out of school made me grow up fast. That's not an experience my brother had. I've actively stopped him having the experience of being forced to grow up. I realize that now. Story 2. Ada for refusing to let my boyfriend move into my house with his nephew, even temporarily. I, 23F, inherited my grandparents' house and land last year. I'd rather have my grandparents back, but at least I'm set up with a good place to live out of college and don't have to worry about housing like a lot of my friends. I've been seeing my boyfriend Adam, 24M, for a year and a half, and we've been planning to move in together this summer. He would be moving to my place. Right now, he lives in an apartment with 3 roommates. Adam has an older brother that is kind of a POS. He and his girlfriend are addicts and have been involved in shady stuff in the past, so Adam only talks to them at holidays usually. They have a son, 5M, that Adam sends birthday cards and gifts to but hasn't spent a whole lot of time around because of the family drama. A couple of weeks ago, the worst happened, and the girlfriend died and Adam's brother is going to be in jail probably for a very long time. Adam's mom is disabled and not in good enough health to keep up with a 5-year-old full-time. Girlfriend's family apparently disown her and want nothing to do with it. That leaves Adam as a guardian for the kid or foster care. I am not a kid person. I don't dislike kids, but I had my own messed up childhood and I would not be a good parent or be able to deal with the noise and chaos of a small kid easily. Adam knows this as we've had the what if there's an oops and future planning conversations. So I was surprised when Adam asked about moving plans up for us to live together so that he would have space to take in his nephew. I said I wasn't awkward with him bringing his nephew, and that since the situation had changed, the plan would have to be put off until something was figured out. He said there's no room for his nephew at his current place and rent is sky high, so he wouldn't be able to afford a new place on his own. My place has plenty of room and would be perfect, and this is literally the difference between his nephew staying with family and going God knows where. We argued and his mom has been calling me to beg me to let them stay with me for a while until they can make other arrangements. I have a feeling that a little while would turn into permanently once the kid got comfortable. Mutual friends have been telling me I'd be an asshole for not helping Adam at least temporarily because I'm lucky to have the space. But I really don't want my space invaded like that and have to deal with kicking them out eventually if nothing else comes up. Relevant comments. OOP added quite a bit of clarifying information. People point out this is probably the end of the relationship. Yeah, sadly it probably is. I'd be happy to continue dating seriously without living together, because it would still be a year or two before I'd feel comfortable getting engaged and married, and that's plenty of time to work on a solution. But if it's now or bust, I'm going to have to pick bust. Feeling pressured into things is a big deal for me. More about why she would be willing to live separately for a few years when a kid is a longer commitment. I'd be awkward with being in a permanent relationship with someone I didn't live with. So maybe a solution is we stay together and live separately until the kid is grown up. That would work for me. I'm pretty self-sufficient and I don't need a live-in partner to be happy, I think. I also have a feeling this guardian situation isn't going to last. Adam doesn't strike me as the kind of person right now to take on a traumatized little kid and all the stuff that goes with it. I'd give it 3 months for the panic to wear off, and the reality sets in for him to realize how much it's going to change his life in ways he can't deal with. Maybe I'll be surprised, but Adam is one of those people that kinda needs to start with keeping a houseplant alive first. Didn't he already take in his nephew? I mean, technically he hasn't yet. He needs a stable place to live that meets CPS basic requirements before they turn the kid over to him, so the kid is living in a temporary foster home right now. More about why she thinks he would not be a good fit for his nephew. We've been friends for a while before we started dating. He's never taken care of a kid, never even had a pet. He's a good guy, but he's a dude in his early 20s that hasn't had a whole lot of responsibility or tie-downs until now, and part of the reason that I went to ease into living together and thinking about marriage over a few years is that I grew up in an unstable environment with unstable people and was in foster care for a while, and I want to make sure he can settle and stabilize. I don't think he completely understands what's going to happen when the backpats stop and he has to deal with actually having a kid. I'm not shitting on him, but as someone who was a child in a similar need, I know that well-intentioned people like Adam often make it worse, and not every desire to step up is followed by a capacity to adequately step up without fucking out the kid even worse. If you can't hack it, it's the kid that's going to suffer the majority of the fallout. So I don't really think Adam is thinking of what's really best for the kid as much as he doesn't want to think he's a bad person for refusing to take on the kid. Foster care isn't the worst thing that can happen here. He can still be involved in the kid's life, even if the kid is in foster care right now and can possibly take on custody in the future when he's actually able to house and care for the kid. The kid is in foster care right now, so he would have to get himself together just to be eligible. Why can't us mom take the nephew in no space? She lives in a one-bedroom condo, and I think there's something with her disability that it would affect her status if someone earning a full paycheck was living with her, but I'm not 100% sure on that part. Can boyfriend move into his brother and Sile's house? Without getting into the messy details too much, no, nobody is going to be living there ever again. More about the house. This house is the only safe place I had growing up. I really don't want to move out of it. It's one of the few places I feel completely at ease, so it makes managing my PTSD easier. I know I'm safe here and no one can kick me out, get rid of me, or treat me like shit in my own house. I'm sorry for the kid, but I'm not willing to give that up. I doubt Adam would be able to afford the rent since I couldn't charge him less than what it would take to get me a place to live somewhere else, so it's the same problem. Let them stay for a bit. It's a lot bigger deal than that. Even with a lease, if Adam can't find somewhere and refuses to go, I would have to give them 30 days notice to move before starting eviction, and that would take at minimum like 30 days beyond that. So then I'm stuck for at least an extra month or two with two people in my house that I don't want there. One an angry ex, the other an already traumatized kid who will be taken back by CPS anyway if Adam is evicted with no place to go and doesn't need to be exposed to any more adults fighting and instability. This is one reason why it's obvious to me that Adam isn't ready to parent this kid. He doesn't have a plan that doesn't involve other people doing most of it for him. Well, decision made. I broke up with him last night. Reading all the responses made me realize that I don't actually want him to move in with or without his nephew at this point. He did not take it well at all, but probably another reason this wasn't going to work in the end. Hopefully, he and his mom can figure something out together. Update. A small update for this. Some of you guys were totally right about his intentions. He dropped the idea of taking his nephew in a few days after I broke up with him and called from a mutual friend's phone to ask me to take him back. I asked him why he wasn't going to take in his nephew, and he said it would be too hard to do alone. So, looks like he was expecting me to help him with the kid all along instead of just letting them stay for a while. Without a free place to live and a built-in helper, he's not interested. I did not take him back. I think the breakup was the best thing that could have happened. I feel a lot better without him in my life. Thanks for the advice.